social media for the past weeks is Trump's purported invasion of Nigeria. Now, Trump has been spewing all of these narratives on social media and even to the American media that Nigeria, when you go to Nigeria, Christians in Nigeria are being persecuted. And he even went as far as having Nicki Minaj speak at the UN meeting to convey how Christians in Nigeria are being persecuted. Now, we realize that the country's president, Tinubu, together with many people in Nigeria, have downplayed this narrative from President Donald Trump, citing that these kind of things or these kind of narratives, they hold no bearing. And then the people who are really persecuted are not just Christians. Muslims are also persecuted. And many even said it doesn't even exist at all. Well, less than just 5 days after this whole back and forth between the Washington, D.C. and also Nigeria government, reports came in that pupils were abducted from the Catholic school in Fresh Nigeria attack. So this is BBC World Report that came. And this definitely has given Trump the green light. And now he's saying that Nigeria, because of all of these things which is going on and how the Nigeria government is failing to act and protect Christians and people, he may have to order the military to step in. Now, we want to watch this report coming from Fox News, how they reacted to this, and even what the president said in the first place. When we come back, we give you the rundown of what is about to happen, and even how ECOWAS, Ghana's President Trump, together with Tinubu, Nigeria's president, how they are all entangled in this whole mess.
It's a disgrace. The whole thing is a disgrace. They're killing people by the thousands. It's a genocide, and I'm really angry about it. And we pay, we give a lot of subsidy to Nigeria. We're going to end up stopping. The government's done nothing. They're very ineffective. They're killing Christians at will. And, until I got involved in it 2 weeks ago, nobody even talked about it.
Well, President Trump is reacting today to what we've been covering for a couple of weeks now, but really leaned in with my panel that I hosted at the UN at the request of Ambassador Michael Waltz, and he also invited superstar rapper Nicki Minaj, because she has a pastor who's Nigerian and has jumped into this as an advocate for those under attack. Horrific violence in Nigeria against mostly Christians, and a third mass kidnapping this week alone. So it's getting worse under President Tinubu over there. In this attack, gunmen targeted a Catholic school just days after that attack on a Christian church. Islamic terrorists in Nigeria. There are now 22 of those groups, including Boko Haram, and some of them are aligned with ISIS. They are targeting Christians and have been for years. Some experts, as well as the president, are saying that the mass slaughter needs to be contained. And you heard him here. The government now over there has to do something about this. I joined U.S. Ambassador Waltz for an event on the crisis earlier this week.
I served in Nigeria helping train their Navy SEALs for hostage rescues and to go find these girls. And Harris, it is horrific what is happening to them right now. We were able to get many of them back, but not all of them. And as a father of a daughter, it's just horrific to think little girls, 8, 9 years old, being kidnapped out of their schools and sold into Islamic sex slavery.
Senior Foreign Affairs correspondent Greg Palcott has the latest. Greg.
Hi, Harris. That's right. More violence in Nigeria. Christians again under fire. A Catholic secondary school in the town of Gwara in northwestern Nigeria attacked by gunmen. Local media says as many as 52 kids were kidnapped. A desperate search involving military and police is on right now. And yes, earlier this week, a Catholic church nearby was attacked. 2 people were killed and 38 worshippers abducted. The ransom per person, $69,000. Thousands of Christians have been killed in recent years there, leading some, yes, to speak of a Christian genocide. President Trump has branded Nigeria a country of particular concern regarding religious freedom, threatening to apply sanctions and send in U.S. troops. Here's how a State Department official put it at a congressional briefing yesterday.
The Trump administration is developing a plan to incentivize and compel the Nigerian government to better protect Christian communities and improve religious freedom.
Still, the Trump administration and analysts say others are getting hurt, too, by Islamist terrorists, organized bandits, militants. 25 children were kidnapped at another school in western Nigeria on Monday. 1 escaped. That happened in a Muslim area. Harris, Nigerian officials claim they are not persecuting any religion, but many analysts say at the very least they are certain that the government officials are not protecting their own citizens. Back to you.
Yeah, and as we've been pointing out, it's mostly young girls and women, and that's what we saw in that church. And those new numbers are just heartbreaking, how many more people were kidnapped and killed in that church attack that we showed this week. Greg, thank you very much for the...
So this was a report coming in from Fox News, which is mostly a television channel that aligns with President Trump's party, the Republican Party. So the whole news about over 200 or so girls being abducted in Nigeria, just as these concerns of Christians being persecuted, the whole thing was just on social media. Everyone was talking about it. Then we're hit with this particular news, which is on the screens and which was even confirmed by BBC News. Now, in the wake of all of this, most of you may not have seen what really happened when the Catholic school involved, when it was attacked, and when the bandwidth apparently abducted the girls. Now, even though those visuals are not there for us to see, the video that we're about to watch shows the aftermath of this whole sequence of events that really unfolded, and people are saying that, whoa, perhaps maybe Trump is right and he needs to step in, not to do any bad thing to Nigeria or perhaps distort the country, but to help rescue these girls and also to perhaps eliminate these insurgencies and also these ISIS, Boko Haram, and so forth. So let's take a look at this particular video of what really happened when the bandwidth stormed the Catholic school and then they did this to the Holy Mary statue.
Utagenje mutune yenzu simi ya kune kigaka. Eka haya.
So the video you just saw was a video of Holy Mary. Those of us who are Catholic, you know this Mary statue, the bandit obviously painted. And this was a Catholic school. So clearly they are Catholic. So the narrative that Nigerians were saying this does not happen, it is something which is not happening, Trump is spreading conspiracy theories. The video and the report that confirms exactly what many people have been saying here. Now, we'll also be looking at one person who kind of saw what was happening in the case. She was even involved, not as in the attack, but then she was a victim, and she was giving an account of what really happened, even how some of her close relatives were entangled in this recent abduction in Nigeria.
I just finished speaking with my mom, and let me tell you guys, my mom said they went to Papiri because from Papiri to where we are staying is not even up to 15 minutes. They went there because my sister Anuli is in that school. She's currently in secondary school in that school. They went there and it was more than 200 students. They picked up more than 200 people in that school. Some are 4 years, 3 years, some are 4 siblings, some are 3 siblings. They picked up all these people and they tied them like sheep and goats walking inside bush. They tied them. My mom said people that were coming to that school, some parents that were coming to that school through the road, through the bike, that they saw them. They saw them they saw their kids on the road walking inside bush. They were tied like goats, like sheep. This is getting out of hand. More than 200 people were kidnapped this morning. More than 200. And Anuli, she was so lucky to escape because they in secondary school that they didn't get to secondary school part. They got to the primary school section and they jumped fence. Anuli is currently in the house now. Just finish speaking my mom. They jumped fence. Most of their classmates jumped fence. They were able to capture the little children, 4, 3, 5 years. That was the people they kidnapped. And according to my mom, they saw plane. Plane. How did bandits get plane? How?
So definitely this is an issue which is of great concern and everyone is reacting, and we need to really look at this extensively from the point of view that what is happening in Nigeria, we really need to look at it, and ECOWAS also needs to look at these things, because most of these girls who have been abducted, I mean, most of them will be used as trade-offs, in a way that they will say, bring money for us to release these girls for you. That is how basically this bandwidth and these Al Qaeda and ISIS, they make money. They kidnap people, they exchange them for money, that kind of thing. And also, most of these girls, those whose parents will not be able to afford the ransom, let me put it that way, they will be sold off to other people, they'll be sold off to forced marriages and a whole lot of things, and they may never see the end of day, or they may never be reunited with their parents again. These girls were in school forever and ever. Their life would change. Most of them will even be tortured and abused. Now, all of these things which is really going on to some of these ladies who were abducted from the Catholic school, most of them will also be killed. Unfortunately, most of them will be unalived. Why? Because these are people who will not go with the orders of these groups and a whole lot of things. So this is a crisis, and Nigeria needs help from the United States of America to fight these insurgencies. It worked in Israel. The United States of America helped eradicate or perhaps suppress the power of Hamas. So perhaps US can do something. The only thing here is that these two countries need to work together. But then this notion that Nigeria is independent, Nigeria can solve this issue. Nigeria cannot solve this issue. Nigeria is in a mess. The leaders in Nigeria are not doing anything. They need help. These people can't even manage their own affairs. The US can help. Nigeria is not like Israel that has all of these weapons to kind of fed off these kind of ISIS, Boko Haram, and Hamas. Nigeria lacks most of these amenities. They lack the tactical skills, and their personnel on the ground, they don't have the latest, training to combat these kind of ISIS and these kind of Hamas and these kind of Boko Haram. So it's a big issue, and I just pray that something is that it could be my daughter. There are some people who will be listening to me that they know one or two people who have been caught in this whole crossfire. And I saw a video on social media that when these bandits attack some communities, they killed some people. There were videos that we saw some people who were unalived on the floor. So it's really messy, and I just hope something is being done about it sooner or later. Now, in regards to this whole issue between Nigeria and the United States of America and Donald Trump saying that he ultimately will order the military to storm Nigeria to make sure that they help Nigeria combat these kind of Hamas, Boko Haram, all of these groups which are basically wreaking havoc in the northern part of Nigeria. We are learning that Pinaxtv, who happens to be the U.S. Secretary of War, have met a delegation from Nigeria. So these pictures are actually live pictures, and this delegation just tells you that the U.S. is edging closer, and the U.S. is of the view that if nothing is being done in Nigeria, if the country, the president, if they are not doing anything to kind of safeguard the people and also Christians in Nigeria, the US will step in, not to once again distort the country, but to help. So let us put this particular tweet on the screens for you to know exactly what really went on when the U.S. Secretary of War met with the Nigerian delegation, and this was what Pete Hegseth posted on X, formerly Twitter. He says that yesterday I met with Nigeria's National Security Advisor and his team to discuss the horrific violence against Christians in their country under POTUS, which is the office of the presidency, talking about Donald Trump. Under POTUS, or under President Trump's leadership, Department of War, which is DOW, is working aggressively with Nigeria to end the persecution of Christians by jihadist terrorists. So now they've signed some kind of, we don't know if this is a deal, but then he's saying that they are going to work together. The Nigeria counterpart is going to work together with the Department of War, DOW, to make sure they fight these jihadists, these terrorists, who each and every day they are abducting these innocent girls. It has been happening since I was young. and it's still going on, and yet still nothing is being done about this issue, or nothing is being done to solve these kind of atrocities and these kind of issues. Now, in regards with this whole issue, as we were saying, the US President Donald Trump is of the view that something should be done about this particular issue. Now, this particular report that we are going to report, this whole recent abduction in Nigeria, where 200 ladies were abducted by these terrorists and this bandwidth, we are learning that Fox News, which happen to be the biggest network in the United States of America, because they feed mainly the Republicans in US, we had them, or in this particular video, you see that they were reporting this issue, and this is the station that Donald Trump, the US president watches most at times. So it clearly tells you that Trump's words, in as much as some people may have said, oh, this is just a conspiracy theory, it is really hitting on the nerves, and the narrative is being sold out there that Nigeria is not doing anything better to kind of stop these insurgencies and these attacks on Christians. Let's watch this particular video. When we come back, we continue.
Gunmen reportedly kidnapping at least 50 students from a Catholic school, adding to the urgency of President Trump's fight to end Christian persecution. This latest attack coming after the commander-in-chief designated Nigeria as a country of particular concern. President Trump doing so in response to the more than 7,000 Christians killed in Nigeria since the year began.
If the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians, the USA will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria and may very well go into that now disgraced country, guns a-blazing, to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible, horrible atrocities.
The Nigerian government is condemning the attacks and says their security forces are looking for the students.
So that is exactly how Fox News reported it. Now, in regards to this whole recent attack, as I've said earlier on, both parties are reacting. In Nigeria, this time around, is reacting because just some few weeks ago, a week or so ago, we had pastors from Nigeria who were downplaying these kind of remarks from President Donald Trump. Some were even saying that there's no attacks going on in Nigeria. Christians are not being persecuted. It's a lie. Everyone is safe. It's propaganda. It's more like there's a word they use when they want misinformation. They say it's misinformation. It's conspiracy theory. Yes, still these issues happen. Now, the Catholic diocese have actually reacted. Remember, these people who were abducted from a Catholic school. So they've reacted. But before then, many people in Nigeria, together with many people in the United States of America, together with some leaders, are reacting to this. Now, in this particular screenshot or this particular tweet, you could see that a representative of United States Congress who goes by the name Republican Riley M. Moore, he posted, heartbreaking, St. Mary's Catholic School in Nigeria was attacked overnight with more than 50 students and teachers being kidnapped. Enough is enough. We must do everything we can to defend our brothers and sisters in Christ. So now the narrative that Trump was spewing has been amplified following the recent attacks in Nigeria. And following these two, what we are seeing is that Sean Nelson, who happened to be with the Catholic Church, he is a senior counsel global relations religious freedom leader and now a Catholic. He actually tweeted this, and this was a response which came from the Catholic Diocese of Kuntangora. But before then, let's take a look at what he posted. He said, I just don't know what to say anymore after the latest kidnappings attack in Niger State, Nigeria, at St. Mary's Catholic School. These terrorists want to destroy the futures of generations of young girls and boys. They want to destroy Christians. They are enemies of civilization. So now people are saying that enough. Initially, when Trump was saying these things, many people downplayed it and said, oh, it's a conspiracy theory, it's not true. But following the recent attacks and this recent abduction, people are now looking into this and say maybe Trump is right. Nigeria really or desperately needs help. Now, this statement came from the Catholic Diocese of Kontangora, and then it was dated yesterday, 21st of November 2025, and then it was directed from it came from the priest and religious faithful, the Catholic Diocese of Kontangora, and it says attack and kidnapping of people, students and teachers of St. Mary's Catholic primary and secondary schools Papiri, Niger State. So now, the Catholic Diocese of Kontagora have reacted to this, and they are reacting to the kidnapping where many students and girls were kidnapped recently. And it says this to inform us that the armed attackers invaded St. Mary's Catholic Primary and Secondary Schools in Papiri, Niger State, in the early hours of 21st November 2025. That was yesterday morning, abducting some people, students, teachers, and security personnel who was badly shot. The incident occurred between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., causing fear and distress within school community. So basically, we are learning that this particular secondary school, these bandits attacked them somewhere early hours of the morning. So we are talking about dawn, between 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. And I believe this school was a boarding school, to be precise, where they took a lot of people and also shot some people and in the process abducted certain peoples. Now, it further goes on to read that the Catholic Diocese of Kontagora strongly condemned the attack and expressed deep concern for the safety of the kidnapped children and their families. Security agencies were immediately informed and have begun coordinated efforts to ensure the safe rescue and return of the victims. The bishop assured the public that diocese is actively collaborating with the security operatives, community leaders, and government authorities. The diocese called on the public to remain calm, support security efforts, and continue praying for the safe and quick return of all abducted. It also reaffirmed its commitment to the protection of children and promised to provide further updates as verified information becomes available. May the Lord grant quick release to those abducted and continue to protect his people from all danger. With all prayers, this was signed by Jatau Luka Joseph, who happened to be the diocesan secretary. So this is really getting scary. Because at the end of the day, the diocese have responded and they are saying that based on these reports, they can confirm. Because remember, they are with the school. They are in the school, they are with the school, and basically they know exactly what is really going on. And they want to confirm that these things really went on. These attacks really went on. Yeah. These attacks really went on, and clearly it is something that ultimately shouldn't have really gone on, and it's something which is really, really bad. Well, we are just hoping that something good comes out of all of these rescue efforts, and these young girls who've been abducted are rescued successfully. So that is the whole issue in regards with this whole issue which is really going on. It is a very, 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 very sad issue, and I hope that something is done quickly, so that these young girls who have a bright future ahead of them, they'll be rescued, and at the end of the day, calm will also be restored. So that's exactly what is really going on. Now let's move on. Recently, the reports be Abraham say Professor Jampu on Dr. Domfe omo clash ewo TV3 na omo clash ye no ensem bebre ekoso ema che say ewie chikre hu say Dr. Domfe o make statement so wo Professor Jampu oni mbofra da ama me no kasia petition UN old students and old students omo feel going ba no petition UN so omo yi Professor Jampu na omo stop funding for the University of Ghana, because University of Ghana they've actually employed a predator obi on them bad and same be but then me no ka say no yenya updates on this particular issue, because Professor Jampu on the Dr. Domfe it is saying something by we call court we sue TV3 so they were caught in the crossfire TV3 so the one in Airbus video ni film more aye back and forth be me no ka say the two met and they settled their scores, as they say, and this came after the University of Ghana launched an investigation and threatened to take action. And the two have reportedly, apologized also to University of Ghana and also the Methodist University for this unfortunate issue at ACA. Now, we young question the video of when they rekindled live on television. I just say at the end of the day, both of them apologize. This is what grown men do. You should video babaka it's for better us, because definitely this was something that I wouldn't say most of us never saw coming. But then what really happened or shouldn't have happened? These are two brilliant minds. The ACBR, they've really buried the hatchet. Video back to us.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. And let me also say, just as my brother has said, it wasn't good. Not at all. It really affected me for almost 3 days. Eating was a problem. My wife is here with me, and it was really bad because even though it was not meant for public, but somebody got it out, and whatever that happened, it was me, and it was Prof. So my sincerest apologies. We need not to do this again, and not even when either we are on live or whatever that happens. I don't think it really went on well. But let me take this opportunity as well to say a few things to my church, because since the whole thing started, my church, Methodist Church Ghana, has been at the center, and if anything had happened, they were behind it. So I would like to also take this opportunity to apologize to the presiding bishop and the entire leadership of the church. My diocese, Northern Accra Diocese, Right Reverend, the Bishop of the Northern Accra Diocese, Right Reverend Andrew Bedin, and especially the chair, the lay chair, Dr. Senyor Ajay. He will call me every now and then, morning, evening, and he's been so wonderful. I also want to mention my Superintendent Minister at the Airport East, and all other people. One particular individual that I cannot forget about is Bishop Osabuti, Right Reverend Osabuti. Excellent human being. He's always, even this morning, he sent a message. I promise to walk in the ways of Christ. I am a Christian. I forgive everybody. Please find it in your heart to also forgive me if anything happened that you didn't like. All the people that I've mentioned, my university, and everybody, my co-workers, everybody. I'm University of Ghana. We are very sorry.
Yes, from the alumni, we forgive them. Let it not happen again. And both of them are my junior brothers in the university, and alumni is here represented. Let it not happen again.
So that is Professor Jampu and Professor Donfair almost smoking the peace pipe, and honestly, this is very good because at the end of the day, nipa yesi obi fun kuma obi fun and then inja forgive me besana ase yekano. And so that is the issue. I'm very much happy that these two grown men have solved their issues. Both of them have excellent submission. So if I meet Professor Jampo, I'm so this man, he speaks a lot of sense. If we also meet Don, so I like his submission, especially on the part of the economy, the dollar issue near there. So clearly no. We are looking into all of these issues. Now, you're moving on. No reports be aba if he a year MPP4 aba and if he MPP4 and a air bad but then reports are air ban MPP4 na akwafa aba. It's a year reports are aba. It is a Ghana hand his and safe. Now, according to a year MPP MP or the ababe to just say first, not Ghana no. Yeah, can't peace index countries are very peaceful. We're somewhere we're in a comfortable place. But then recently, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ebedi adi. It is for him the ekoso. Drop it significantly. I just said, these are your friend is saying. These are issues that ekoso Now we'll get back to that particular audio. Now it's here. But then the issue of MPP4 or more proxy vote flag bearership vote here about election about because yesterday we give you an update say proxy voting, which means obi oye delegate also ko vote na be binti utu kwan na so ni wa be bitima obi akọ vote ama proxy voting Sisi ano MPP force omunye saade no. And then there are some people who be say at the internet MPP for omunye saade. Now the internet leadership no, they are saying they are not going to allow proxy voting because electoral commission in Bremu no, it allows that. Yenkoni nkutie submission a Joe Wise or the two job, Minoka say it has got a lot of hairs rolling on this particular issue.
As you said, no, any proxy voter should himself be a delegate.
Yes, so Electoral Commission of Ghana.
Okay.
They are the custodians of all the elections.
Okay.
Okay. If selected centers election.
Okay.
Ask them what are the guidelines governing proxy votes.
Governing proxy, very well.
And in any case, it is the Electoral Commission who administer, not the NPP. We are not the organizers of this election. We are only going to do the management of it and then hand it over to the Electoral Commission.
Well, I say
the actual conduct, supervision, whatever of the election is under the Electoral Commission of Ghana. And there are clear guidelines over the Yomajuma.
Or no say, Tobo, or say proxy voting allows a third party to vote on behalf of a registered delegate. This inherently weakens the principle of voter identity verification, creating opportunities for misrepresentation. Delegates are coerced into assigning their vote. Delegates are being impersonated through fraudulent proxy forms. Aspiring candidates coordinating block proxies through inducement. Electoral integrity studies consistently classify proxy mechanisms as high risk due to the difficulty of authenticating whether the proxy vote reflects the true intent of the absent voter. In the case of internal elections, such as the presidential election, it is not only essential but also critical to ensure that the proxy vote reflects the true intent of the absent voter. Next is the absence of an auditable chain of custody. A secure electoral process requires a direct, traceable relationship between the voter and the ballot. Proxy voting inserts an intermediary whose actions cannot be verified. Finally, many democracies, including several EU countries, have abolished proxy voting. In the UK, for instance, notable proxy abuse and electoral fraud have led to the conviction of councillors. There have been repeated calls by the Electoral Reform Society to abolish proxy voting. Jason also they are ba.
Obi, you know the sense I make of all of this.
No.
Say Obi wuti hui. Now we get our water no. Say wo kwa kotwa ba that for some reason. Me papa say me dey manu be kasa yare nyame pambu. For whatever reason. Now we appoint we yere and now yere appoint wa. Then somebody is expressing this concern now or expressing. What are you talking about? The national election. So me incapacitated in any way. Maybe I did not turn a wheelchair move. Let my polling station. I reserve the right under the law. Ask for assistance from Mobile or
War. Sure.
There is always that. It's akin to the proxy. Almost the same as the proxy. And you cannot tell me, say, me no and Nana Mami Kwai under the Constitution of Ghana. And subsequently the Electoral Commission CI 127. Oh, she said, Obi be Magin wa be ni se wo huntino. I will not stressing this. I think that the election committee has done a great disservice to us by not taking this opportunity to deal with and dispel this matter.
Because but interestingly, honorable, the chairman of the electoral committee is an astute lawyer, a former first deputy speaker in Ghana's parliament.
Absolutely.
Maybe
that is one politician I admire. Obi, let me place on record.
Yes.
That's one politician I admire all my life. But on this occasion, Mr. Speaker, you are wrong. We are treading on dangerous grounds. We may be creating room for some people, disgruntled elements, to disturb our peace of mind as a party. It's dangerous. I just pray that it doesn't get there. But it's a dangerous thing to do.
And how do you reckon this will be resolved? I will say National Council. Obi,
the law must reign supreme. According to we sought to the law. Once the best principle is it's good to open up and hear people. Hear people's fears. So there will be a election where Boka on them across the country. Look at Canada, Japan. Look at Pabila, Japan. Look at Baumia. Omunamomu bucket to client bre a year campaign. None of them should take anything for granted. I side with them 100%. They must ensure that the sanctity of the process is intact all the time. But we should also not do it in a way creating more problems for us. I submit humbly, there is no such problems as is being submitted to you associated with proxy. A complete misunderstanding. And this is going to deepen our problem with this caricature called proxy. In the past, a higher election year, there's been no instance of making a verifiable case to say, Obi the proxy to you know and I'm your party. This is that. And so election year, you have a pega to say epo. You show a pega assorting. Not after Asajo.
Yes.
I thought they should have used this opportunity to deal with this matter once and for all. Open it up, let people see the processes involved, and then kill it. Because that means that's the election all the time. Other parties do it. Why don't they have this challenge? See and cry. 2023, did you see why this sudden situation? But you can be somebody's best favorite. If you are managing the election, you can never use proxy to steal for the person. It's not possible. In fact, the proxy register that will be used to vote at the center where agent will copy. It is a who open now to proxy Martin Cosa. No, my agent for any of the candidates. O crack picture ho. Oni mo afana oba. O picture bo to do we okay, what take it. Anybody else that comes only start registering at the police station on me. I mean, what is this? I tell you the a misunderstanding of it. But I don't blame anybody. Over the past year, I say could be a down. It's a scare we are suffering from. I'm only afraid where it may end us if we don't deal with it. But I tell you this, you don't be afraid, Mr. Electoral Commission for me.
Okay.
They may give you more like that. Maybe they can be NPP. To be able to may come for one side. But I can speak to them. And they will educate us on what the process is. If there are any inherent dangers or fears as people are claiming. There is none that I see.
It is the same way and air course. Now let's move on to other issues. Because we know there's a new issue about the top, so we need to look at this and look at it very carefully. We know a Niger Gizi Edin Simbi Ababe Tuja say from next year, a copying 2027 NDC Imubechiche. Now only say a year you John Dramani Mama. This is last term. So even Obeksa the screen D 1 year, whom go for be bromi you minima, omo shadow a friend is saying campaign to be president and I say to be flag bearer. You see, Senna a year having a do so enamna of a flag bearer day. Julius Debra recently was sorry be yes same command no setting a year kitia or also sa together with a host of others at first obia na themu de intino omo the omu ye sisi a na sa omu rules omo no obia ye in a way a obitimi dia turn ho na why flag bearer na we na a year prophet Niger Gizi e dia ba be tuja say from next year, a year NDC4, from next year, 2027, no, NDC4 will begin to see crack in the party. Sa crack in the party, no, it was because of internal politics. And a year, polls, as I say, we pay power, we pay to me, and a best at this annual meaning in a beba. Yabeka share a year this particular video involved of a year in Sema, a year prophet Niger Gizi, or the two job, saying it has definitely brought a lot of attention, and people are saying, we never bad the any party, no, because some united are. And yet said the two MPP Omudin Kugo they just ended 2024 elections no the same thing ABC yen kuti in summer a year prophet Niger Gizi Ankasa edituja. When we come back we will also look at other corresponding issues in regards with this particular year in summer Boba in regards to this whole NDC Omuntimba Bechicha all because of presidency and power and who will be the flag bearer.
2027 there's going to be a crack in the NDC.
There's going to be a crack in the NDC?
Yes, prophetically. There's going to be a crack in the NDC. But it's not going to affect the person that will exit the party. And I'm speaking figuratively. 2027, there's going to be a crack in the NDC. but it's not going to affect the person. That is, it's not going to affect the party, but it's going to affect the person
who
that will
exits.
leave the place. Yeah. There's a lot of, but you see, when I talk right now, they will box me somewhere, so I'm being careful. Yeah, I'm being very measured, and I'm being careful. But what I have seen clearly is that they were in a room. The NDC fraternity, they were in a room. They were having a meeting, and one person who is very influential didn't understand himself, and he opened the door, slammed the door, and he didn't come again. So if they, from 2027, they don't manage the things well, there's going to be a famous, just like what happened with Alan Chermante. But if we can pray, if there can be negotiation, if there can be talking, these things will be averted.
So these were the words of a Prophet Nigel Gezi Kasi, shocking a lot of people. Meanwhile, in other news, now we have Abdi said 9 months for a year, Excellency John Dramani Mamo Apa almost say, almost galamsey sensem so now almost topic galamsey activities 9 months no. Me kasi obeda sorry be ani say omenya accident na no munya accident e say bandwidth and as galamsey phone bi na attack you omo. And this time around to now just 3 days ago so yet is omenya accident ma ba kwa femu e me prepra. So the question is about the say na dey bia 9 months for omenya accidents eno and information about say 9 months for omukutin two sekan two draw sekan draw just say obo mu two kra nko nana you shoot them it doesn't go owo mo sekan nko intino se nkrofo no ana 9 months for na ba opa akuti two ni ade omo believe say omo you unstoppable omo you powerful until they are coming to what face you and they are coming to fight you eno and enam so I say obeda so e say 9 months for no attack keep man say bi mu aye de enya say na aside from that to bebre you so edro. You can share this particular video of how one military personnel and 9 months when he be or the 2 job I said we have a big challenge. Means you see, I know I was 9 months for spiritual sanctification. I don't know. Any video by to us.
Development. If you say that they get information, they are well networked in such a way that they get information ahead of time that you are coming to the forest where they are operating, so they prepare for you.
Oh yes, exactly.
And
in fact, there are sometimes that maybe they get an information and they mobilize. They bring their armed groups, they bring their own security. You see heavily built men. I don't know where they are coming from. Whether they are even Ghanaians. They look well fortified. They have weapons. We've seen the musket. We've seen the pump actions. We've seen some AK-47 rifles with them. And these are the guys that come with heavy, so-called spiritual fortifications. In fact, you see talisman and other object rings on their hands. They look so fierce, not open to any dialogue. So sometimes their sheer numbers is able to cause us to retreat. Because we come in a convoy of about, let's say, 15 to 20 officers and go and meet 800 to 1,000 people standing there waiting for you. Sometimes it's better to retreat because we believe retreat is another phase of war. We go and regroup and come back again.
The heavily built men who look fortified spiritually.
Yes.
Describe that to me.
Yes. I don't know where they come from, but when you see them, they look so fierce. All of them are in dreadlocks, long dreadlocks. They seem to wear some dirty clothes with fugu and with charms, amulets, talisman all over their bodies. In fact, it is believed that when you shoot these people, they may not be harmed. They are fortified against gunshot wounds. They are fortified against machete attacks and the like. Well, these are statistic events I cannot independently confirm. But what I have seen with my naked eye, when some of them were arrested, they come on charms and amulets and other things that we see from these people. It tells you they really did have some spiritual fortifications. There was one incident when one of them was arrested, and then I think he resisted. About 5 of my men could not even put the guy down until somebody told us that the talisman that the guy is wearing is in the singlet. Can you imagine the singlet? And looking closely at the singlet, we saw some Arabic writings, a lot of them all over. It looks dirty unless you look closely before you are able to. Somebody asked us to cut it. So we cut through the singlet. That's how come the guy became weak and he was arrested. And because he struggled a bit, he got injured. So when we brought him to the Takoradi Regional Police Command, they advised that he seek some medical attention. And I'm told when he was taken to hospital, even trying to find an IV line penetrating the skin with the needle was very difficult. Telling you that really the people do have some fortifications. And these are the people we have to contend with in our fight against illegal mining in forest reserves.
Wow. As they are spiritually fortified and you are also physically not even armed enough to deal with them, with all the shortcomings that you're having to face with. Please
it's here for in Bibri. So you show me at these people, nine more song for go show one and yes, I'm getting fat to teach some or can or say at a particular point in time, nine months for no car, so momo come in a group of 15 to 20. But mo koram ko to sanko fu ya, bi mo mtimi obo 300 100. Ni bi mo kra no o mo ndo su kra na o chi o mo kra na nipa baako. Ko fu 20 kwinti mi financial card, o mo ye den. Into recall an incident baako a omo so guy back mo ntimi ko be 6 omo ntimi so ni mu no bi ka se akwa no adi eduro na eduro no e woni singlet dim to omo hwe ni singlet na is we talisman ade ade e na omo te singlet ni pe na akwa no jojo ye pe ye de ni ko police afa na wa ye mre na quickly no e wo se ye de ni ko hospital kra line ye be fa na ye de drip si ni so eni ho kwakwa no abin hu just spiritual eyipa na eyi I just say odwen ho kra won ti asenti no. These are issues of movies. Now, on this same Galamsey issue, I not don't pray what happened to be the minority chief whip. We demand they say every week biano a parliament no. And now this whole 9 months issue, of course, on Galamsey no, they need to have briefing. And this is coming in the week of Galamsey. Still, intimate survey as a nation. NDC for they are trying their best, but still nah, their best is not enough.
Aban bayo o chesa o ku Galamsey. Na sabe Odi wano bo bosia sanya no adi tuaka enne yensu nyina essay river pra densu ankobra nyina essay nkrofuafuafuom nyina essay enne abodi nyansa pere abeti dwa se kontomre po aye different mining site kontomre amo any kanka ho edi ye aduane se bia dia podwe kakrai eno so Galamsey heavy metals mercury ne kanka ho omde ye Galamsey akokowurem na mudwin se yemfo okono watrara anase de ombeka kire ne yemfa yesen hu eji se koli yate ne yenko da bi ese busam enti masma mekan bi kire se omunyina se dogana so man baako o man ye nyina dia osoafo no ese at least a Jordan could do fiada no one day as ye de to ho no ba no be kire baby okuna kokodu sintidua o hia and more here free parliament ho because yen emrane man ho kwan se etimi ye oversight mensi crash your war order ono no de wadane ho gangaria na ode te order ho no mo eno onam fichire ena omo tu Galamsey no ono na mefichire achi obia 15,000 Ghana cedis na ne refi se oye president na musini mesre information enya no chese emu awirem esa ye mobo se wo obi eya de boni no wo gina president name no wo so sa ya de boni gini panisika owia no wafa koti kwan so no ko ka che 9 months for se monko we no ya Galamsey no hokwa attack enen nkofo na mo mutuom omoka yewura Solomon Kusi oguni ho ani mase na me de I am a legend so modwin say ye boa ye information yewura Ahmed or ye minister or share local government Oma Solomon Kusi on tranchen you should step aside.
So this is the issue at ECOWAS. Now you're moving on. Menuka say John Dramani Mahama is hot because a current reporter if he the minority in parliament part say Ghana Brana ex-president Akufo-Addo president no ye countries are very peaceful and very peaceful asundwe wo ma bibia akoso kama Africa need the whole world na say ye pa. But then recently John Dramani Mahama in fact Cote d'Ivoire quite peaceful. Ghana ya drop it with your peace index. Now in summer minority minority member edu tuja all parties says issues we are ababe tuja no idea very 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 concerning, and it just tells you say Ghana no Sebio is not peaceful under the president. And one of the issues are almost citing a cause of this particular drop in peace index no how recently a year 23,000 Ghanaians omuko piemu ewo Ivory Coast and Burkina Faso border omo ekoye no say they ended up as refugees after military officers were attacked. I say a crew bia na eben border na attack military officers for ni jane because of that nkrofo no any ekuntokwa na ekoso between ahemfo na so mu jane na omko pi neighboring town. And aside from that too, I say government no or yes anema we nyina the government is not putting in money to resolve and retool our military, rather they are spending money to actually buy private jets and helicopters. In some way, if you reverend in team for Joho and the tuja enko team some of the tuja baba kaiti for ebeto aso.
In fact, at the time when insecurity surround ekro, at the time when security break it down, at the time when in 2021 not Ghana make almost say statistics embark it. And this is also improve statistics. Global Peace Index 2021. Ghana was the second most peaceful country in Africa. Fast forward to 2025, you recent rank by tear the cost 7th. You drop off from second most peaceful insecurity. You was 7th in 2021. Now Ghana, we were considered according to Global Peace Index the 38th most peaceful country in the whole world. And some mine crime rate war form and so insecurity globally ya tiako 61st 61 from 38 to 61 a double. And tonight here ni say at the time one binyiri President Mahama na ne backyard insecurity nipa 48,000 two free omufie SSC free ho ya over hundreds of people ewu ya 10,000 people call refugees for the first time. Burkina Faso 13,000 refugees. Ivory Coast at the time of Boko every day. The yeti wo ho twa yemu ayayemu sisiye the yeti wo sampa nipa ewu at the time wa even insecurity na kwaso ama security officers ne kra are fearing for their lives. Ye hu video mu na soldier ni police no odwane. The other time you see what video say police for rescue soldier for komuku at the time when even security officials fear for their lives. Anka Ghana for here ni say o man si kakakra e wono o ponna dia security a enka distribute no equitably nanka ma align no to the priorities of our national security strategy. Wo mo anya ne sa wo ma kwa police kapudo 1.2 billion dollars say no and no de kwa koye procurement na sa procurement mo kwa kototo helicopters mako 9 out of presidential jet mienu obi I must state here say MPP there we have never been against yeto nyoma ama air force because yene ho no de bia se mo aye ne ento plane yento fighter jets yento OPVs omo boni nyina agui on air okuje to ablakwa any current deputy minister for defense Broja Demfi can say presidential jet Falcon no, it is one of the best in Africa. It is in pristine condition. Pristine condition na best buyer just a 2030 something and nay almost say engine no banko kra say ya banko na adwuma no yen for president tinam soldier for tinam yen tu de besi en fa wo ho and now Debbie okuje to black yes and it's even more dangerous who can run and that's very dangerous say bako asay ya yen for 40 plane 40 engine no yen for mampani and tinam sabe or your papa can be cancer. One say our fleet is young, it is not going to be aging anytime soon. Into what the bar parliament is 6 fighter jets a crab parliament ombogui and this and now when you sika $1.2 billion out of the taxpayers money now be treaty edia to bibia fato bibia odenka tobacco pempo nanka former president because say yes support to say yento presidential jet mono ma president enti ka tobacco pe empono dada now wo ha enne wo ba ya ade tin ya wo say afi de dada pressing condition no aye aging no wo de ka fakọ nanka omon enton na soso na fato ba kon kese pa Boeing business jet and a 170 capacity cra nanka
no how they explain so mu here long haul back and a short haul
me patcho me ba enti no falcon no in any case ye wo falcon na a short haul and I will see a pristine condition so a pristine condition na yakosi for 8 months and yakosi na sa ba na wo ho no ma certify say airworthy and no bet me a short haul
now at all long haul
no call business Boeing jet kese pa 1 not 2 and you know say they are going to have 3 presidential jets. One more oppose the purchase of just 1 presidential jet no and they one more air top 2 presidential jet abe can they all no man 3 number 2 some helicopters and 9 na woto no katomu mienu mpo na ka fa ba kuma president say otu kwan a e Ghana ha
helicopters yen san fa ba kun ka
president meba because say o mampani otu kwan Ghana ha e bi okota male sunyane fidie mi adia na zida ensi ko hye ya enti nkransa nom ne ade nyina ne akwatia nom nyina no enti no so oba adankwaman ne asinkuruwa ne adubiase a na ko de helicopter ne ko na ko ato ba kun so a eno no ye for army anka eno fitted kese pa betumi afa 34 at a time fitted betumi discharging arms from it even from the air and no nanka wo ye 2 nanka 2 na aka no fakoto fighter jets and betumi so ene ye wa hai obi e buy airspace na so ni permit na say air force ko confront now fighter jet be na dey confront no. And you prioritize fighter jets. Soldier for say armed forces a fighting force. And you prioritize the battle readiness of the Ghana armed forces.
That's the soldier for catcher buying. And
I'm the ranking member on defense and interior. Soldier for say Ghana armed forces a fighting force and your transportation agency. And you know what they need is just 1 presidential jet. And then you buy some 2 helicopters, and then you buy fighter jets, and then you buy UAVs, and then you buy APCs, armor and the Omato, and the armor personnel carriers. You started procurement in 2022, $40 million, no more than 40 babes or so. And the me bo mabaso. OPVs ne so offshore patrol vessels no. Omu hia na before ni hia. Ye the bar parliament to crowd the bar floor. Omu bogui only James Agaga honorable MP for Busa South or my colleague on the chairman of the defense interior. At the time now ranking or no pet na hands are capture and say or support to ye. Omu bogui and they omu dia no swaba. Ye bo mabaso.
Because 1.2 billion.
Yes. Into enu hia. And you know, we I know this okay because it's going to strengthen the battle readiness of the Navy. And you know, helicopters 9, any presidential jet saying because for now the tools will be coming. How is that going to enhance the battle readiness of the Air Force? UAV, you know, and they are galam say. Who the soldier for this for chomo I am boarding full soldiers attacking womono. You must now remove the human interface. Na kwakoto eno we musen kese pa as a fighter jets but pilot to be entim to tema ate bonda se wote tamale na control ebetumi akonsuo ne so akọ forest mu you shoot to scare omunya hu play kese wo so a tutu obi abeja ne chan fa wako eno no soldier for you will not put their lives at risk and you will also remove the risk of compromise na wo dey save you wanya ne sa wo so dey luxury travel. And they menya 3 private jets. There are 3 private jets.
Presidential jets.
3 presidential luxury jets. Wabra mukro ya. And I must say banku krampono. You oppose it. It's hypocrisy. Just last year, And Ghanaians deserve an apology from NDC. President Akufo-Addo deserves an apology from NDC. But omu ria. Nasi omu parliamentar. I will insist to say they should realign because some agreement be they should realign the otherwise I will not be part of the approval. You can just buy 1 presidential jet, we will support. Yeah, but you can't have 3 presidential. And I know we are on 23rd of June 2025 Omampeni or Fred 22nd June, or Fred IGP, or Fred Chief Fire Officer, or Fred Controller General of Immigration, or Fred Winyina, Echo Jubilee House, and make big announcement, and then in the Aoko presidency website, President makes big announcement, 1 billion cedis to read to each of the security agencies. At the 23rd June 2025, no, not a Ghanaian Times front page. Not even 1 CD has gone. Bisa police force, where is the 1 billion cedis now? Or Mampeni at the two front page, you know, say or they be to at a time when we are facing threats of extremism and violent extremism and terrorism. DAC Burkina Faso, DAC Togo, and I'm concluding on this point. Midisi Hano. At a time infiltration of terrorism, you have to resource immigration to be able to safeguard our borders. Also, you will not do it. You rather blow $1.2 billion on luxury jets. And if you have prisons, I introduce you, Mamina Basso, Director General for Prison Service, Mrs. Bafuboni, or the innovation on agric, industrial and health into the Saturday Bank Ministry of Education between the and Kurano school tire or mopam between the contracts in the Krama now mopam IGF and in agric and no being so here agricultural equipment here industrial equipment where you were near. What you didn't factor that in the budget, and rather you are prioritizing $1.2 billion. You are going to blow it on luxury jets. How can we be part of such arrangement? So and to we will insist that they should realign in line with our priorities. Now, only the last one, narcotics control. Oko Airport, Nakok, the whole of Ghana, Temaport, Takoradi Port, Accra Kotoka International Airport, Kumasi Prempeh the first airport, and the Yakubu Tali International Airport Tamale. The only intrusive narcotic detection scanner Aviance. Only one.
One pet.
It is scanners. Let me explain the distinction. Just not normal scanners. Maybe with the cocaine FM1. With the cocaine FM1. Nobody will be able to detect if you conceal it well. And so on top. Any detective, any intrusive narcotic detection scanner.
Any budget we
said the beya ombe maho kwa na for their firm. Why didn't you buy intrusive detective scanners to be able to detect cocaine? Mobile biema obi ide your pay atwin your pay free.
That was in Sema Ekoso. Now you're moving on to the camp of Kenya, Japan, because currently Kenya, Japan camp, they are having a huge issue with a musician Philip Abefi. Only musician Philip Abefi, you have to go, on the tosa, and you know what I say, and you back where me the years we need wanting time, and now I have a family in so. And then dear me, Jimmy, yes, Philip Abefi. Now, Philip Abefi, all of a sudden, that story, yes, she's connected. Now, Unima connected, no, if you can in Japan, you didn't Kennedy Japan, no, mind connected, KEN, now the tech, connected account, connected. So that's right on the phone, neighbors, Philip Abefi, you see, you are connected, Philip Abefi connected, Philip Abefi supporting in Japan, and Philip Abefi, they be. Onye connected bia na emum okokini Japan office for something enna yinkutie insema ono ankasa oditudwa yeba yebeto aso
Osia for me mamu nyina good morning. I hope so be ahoye. I think say bibi na ekoso anope me pese me address. Anope me sorry sisi ya me mo se nkonfo de niam send me. Philip Abefi is connected. What is going on? Me call Honorable Ken office. I think it's the last week. Another last 2 weeks. Me refi. Mama me command invite. Me program anya me yad me ba ben on the 4th of January. Then me we one Chris. Yeah, Chris or Honorable office. One receptionist no no omo na me no mo try picture. All of a sudden, Masora no pay it is all over. Obia na Philippa ya the ama bloggers. Mr. Bebre. And my finding out say and free honorable came. Ne side one minim enti sa Chris no one receptionist no one mo na mo de ama blogger no because honorable so oni mo hwe ne nkofo nya so mo ni mo hwe enti Mr. Obi obehu bibi sa bia no me pa cho minim mo hwe minim hu bibia madam ase.
Okay, so that is exactly what is really going on. Now, but let's move on. In regards with NDC, any in sema echoes with NDC party, there's a new way about to say MPP equijina parliament SPU say and ne kinke bako 7 Ghana cedis. And now ochre bibia or talking kini work because HA reporters SA honorable si kinki baku 7 cedi na last year 5 cedi in na talking kini ochre bibia or talking kini work takrade and now bloggers and nkofo akwa could be sa woman na or talking kini ma honorable say I did not talking kinki baku 7 cedi ampa na woman is honorable obua hwe video ye baba ke beto
for social media ambe boy MPP mo kai takrade MP no was original parliament so on talking 7 cities. And then 1957 for corner office could be and say him for no talking kino and or chile or say takurade.
You'll be on ton rice near the friend Uswa. Uswa and Chawana, your talking or our book kinky 7 cities.
Futira Ben was at 7 cities.
Oh, I know, say NDC for Baba Imuna. Almost some ton 7 cities.
Obeja is a blogger in the camera quata crade. Ako Eco Bank. Ako mamen who could be say no Koran at Tinubu.
Service was NDC be power pay. Ne tumko 7 cities. It's a very if we are winning. I no corridor would the code no turn. A could be a service. It's 5 cedi near. On internet in you bring or impactful blogger maba was
you. That's but some about 5 cities.
Not even 27 cities.
27 cities.
Mama is Obua, no Obua, no crown embassy. How can you tell your member of parliament Obua? There was for this time, Janda may yard my MP for see, Janda may yard you mon. Ye jitum them party near Jandam party. But social media and Bebuamo. The Jandam no. A ton swum and yard you my biom. The moon tum who for Namon starting casa with facts. And yes, I don't know.
Okay, so that is exactly what is really going on currently. Now, you're moving on near a year in Sema, a year MDC4 almost sounds so Eddie Tuja because apart from the kinky issue, no still na MPP4 I believe it's NDC4 mobile bemun or monyeshi already no yes kinky back here 7 cities. Yaku woman or ton woman say 5 cities still on 2 muye. Honestly, me personally need kinky no oba Accra has a 2. You see, no, your 5 cities and your 7 cities, and if last year crown about this year sana price next year so your 5 cities there so and it was 7 cities first na 3 and a 5 and a course 7 and a 5 as you see dollar about from still price of kinky send it here now in this same regard no and a MPP a year MP if any lawyer Ralph Opoku edu say odin simbia babe to just say records a year your friend is saying Abba, if anything, NDC4 a claim say, create almost 800,000 jobs in 2026 or so, no, and yan a crack. Na nipa or this same way, a tuja a lawyer Ralph Opoku edu say, and not say by records, no, say, NDC4 a bimupai so me create jobs, somebody said this year, or create any jobs, some create 800,000 jobs, and see Juma Bahukra, or create a year. Young share this particular video of his summer a year lawyer Ralph edu say or this to the Bible.
800 jobs. Mr. Speaker, that is contained at page 154, page 145. Mr. Speaker, at page 145, with the permission of your Mr. Speaker, let me read paragraph 1182. Mr. Speaker, 1182 says, Mr. Speaker, the 2026 budget statement and economic Mr. Speaker, it's supposed to be economic policy, but it's missing. Economic policy of government is specifically designed to create up to 800,000 jobs. Mr. Speaker, 800,000 jobs. In 1 year, you provided zero jobs. Then you want to say that in the following year, you are going to create 800,000 jobs. Mr. Speaker, why? This is unrealistic target. Because, Mr. Speaker, to give us some confidence, Mr. Speaker, you should have even created 5 jobs, five jobs, so that we will know that you are capable of creating jobs, and therefore if you come here and you tell us that you are going to create 800,000 jobs, we'll have some faith in you. Mr. Speaker, as if that is not enough, Mr. Speaker, on the same page 145, paragraph 1183, this is what the minister is telling Ghanaians, that the 63 billion road contracts awarded so far under the big push will generate an estimated 490,000 jobs. So, Mr. Speaker, let's do a very simple analysis. If you have 63 billion and you can use that to create 490,000 jobs, then it's fair to conclude that you need about 100 billion in order to create 800,000 jobs. Mr. Speaker, this whole year's budget, Mr. Speaker, the government projected revenue, Mr. Speaker, is 268.1 billion for the year 2026. And Mr. Speaker, 100 billion or over 100 billion, it constitutes over 40% of this money. Mr. Speaker, when you look at what the government is proposing to spend, there are some constants that, Mr. Speaker, you can't take them out. Mr. Speaker, we are looking to spend 5.7% of GDP on wages. The government is proposing to spend 3.6% of GDP on interest payments. The government is proposing to spend about 4% of GDP on statutory transfers. Mr. Speaker, the question is that if you take all this money out from the projected revenue, Mr. Speaker, how much will you be left with? Mr. Speaker, you won't even have 300 million left. And Mr. Speaker, yet you say that you are in a position to create 800,000 jobs, Mr. Speaker, and that is untrue.
So that was the impasse, of course. So, NDC for claims or mobile some create jobs according to MPP MP lawyer Ralph Edus Opare saying in reality no MPP for NDC for they've not created any jobs. Almost only create 800,000 jobs. Maba sana near Matianet. In fact, now no creating some software be Lumba the software no party say apart from dollar issue there been pa na NDC for my NDC for my careful that next year Ghana be din crossing canino monye careful na muntu ne me na believe say it shall allow Nyankopunti obe succeed e wo yesu di mu. Now you moving on to other issues. Me no kase sisia no lawyer Martin Kibu or the same be ababe tuja, and according to him yet he has say sa na kenefriata waka US ama nebu wo ama yesi no ama ide ne body ne beba Ghana ne abi si na say cases ye wo against kenefriata no ni nyina no aye ways because unim say ye law na per law ne wiase nyina law no obi wu a now ni wo court case a obi wu per court case no etucha it ceases. That is the law, and that is exactly what is really happening. You know, see, I'm showing ya Kenufriata on Bagana. Anything or part say intelligence or PK just a Kenufriata will apply for a US permanent residency visa and I stay. I just say Sisiano or no what's in our plan or now or US citizens no yintimi enfane and Bagana. Now in ready we are near video on this same issue or say. Private legal practitioner lawyer Martin Kibu has claimed that his intelligence indicates former finance minister Kenneth Ratha has applied for U.S. permanent residence, which will complicate efforts to bring the former minister back to Ghana. Back to what? Ghana. So that is exactly that's exactly that. I mean, who can say, intelligence on also pick here or the ababe tuja ubia can accept and no. Now we'll be moving on and we'll also be looking at other issues currently ECOWAS in regards to this same kind of character because many who can say, majority MP or the same be ababe tuja nipa or the same be ababe tuja no. Or patch say or the same ituja say kenufriata bepimene ye huni ye na minority leader lawyer honorable Afenyo Markins or the betuja so finance minister and chebi obe returning to the country bepimene ye huni anything on the parliament floor no Afenyo Markins was being questioned. You promised parliament say kenufriata will be coming to Ghana and then no dear ya titi say okwa siki a permanent US residency, which means you lie to Ghanaians and our party nankasa no Kamia Kwesi, you are aiding I don't know if this is the right way to use, but you are aiding intro and you guys are making sure some more then you are shielding a criminal like Ken Ofuriatta. You could see the back and forth a call so our parliament house now your question lawyer honorable Afenyo Markins say you promise say you guys will bring back a Ken Ofuriatta. Okra Beijing Parliament so Kenny Frata will be returning next month. And net die Tinsema Ekoso. Yen share this particular video involved of Insema Ekoso, ye Babaka,
to solicit an answer from an honorable minority leader. He gave us authoritative information that by February 18th, the honorable former finance minister was going to be in Ghana. So I'm saying, where is the former finance minister? I thought you were going to tell us his whereabouts. Ministers of finance who have occupied that office after their tenure, they remain in this country. Where is our former finance minister? Where is he?
The records would bear me out that indeed, when the respected former finance minister had issue with the OSP, which mattered the majority leader himself, came to apologize. He used the dispatch box to apologize on behalf of government for the mishandling of the whole matter. We as leaders owed a responsibility and a duty in the matter. I, right here, indicated that Mr. Ken Ofuriatta had written to the OSP through his lawyers that he was going to be in the country on or before May, not July. This was in February. Mr. Speaker, in the letter, Mr. Ken Ofuriatta again indicated that he had been booked for surgery. When the time came and his doctors further advised that the surgery will require some healing process, Mr. Speaker, he again wrote, this time not only a letter by his lawyers, the letter from his doctors. It is not a matter of I resigning or making a promise and failing to honor that. Let's put things in proper context. All I want Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim to understand is that when it comes to ill health, our medicals, all of us may go through it one way or the other. If a man is going through a serious medical condition, how many of us will be bold to disclose our medical record? But the man has disclosed his medical record. Mr. Speaker, that hospital where he's receiving treatment is a renowned medical hospital in the United States. Let's be fair to Ken Ofuriatta. Let's be fair. It can be you tomorrow.
Given an impression that members on this side are insensitive to the medical condition of Ken Ofuriatta. That is the impression you have sought to give. Mr. Speaker, Ken Ofuriatta was very sick in this country. You could see the sickness in his face. But at that time, it was sweet to be a finance minister. It was sweet to be a finance minister. In spite of the ill health, he persisted and insisted on remaining in this country as a finance minister. How come that suddenly, because today he is being sought after by the law enforcement agencies, he cannot live in this country and is claiming illness? He was sick when he was finance minister. We all saw it.
It's for so that is the issue about lawyer. The issue about Kenofriata, me no kasi debate obeba Ghana on ba Ghana for your marking so I chose obeba yen allow no ye see enchini simpi ama ne lawyer Martin people in some of the other to just intelligence about PKHS Kenofriata. He is planning to relocate in the United States of America. Now, yeah, so. Because me know kasi Sami Jimfi Edin Simbi Ababe Tuja. In fact, he was recently invited at the show. As I show na invited, no. Invited and say Umbra now Umbe Kasa about good, but because on the current good board CEO and no and the CEO of Ghana Good Board Sami Jimfi we deliver a brief amount for price, a very impactful speech. Our the ministerial meeting happened. Our Kimberley process certification scheme. I would buy amount for price. Sami Jimfi. Ubeko nim pa. Yen share this particular video. Yen share this particular video. Ye babaka iti for ye beto aso.
Your Excellencies, distinguished ministers, Chair of the Kimberley process, KP Executive Secretary, esteemed delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor to address you on behalf of the Republic of Ghana at this important ministerial meeting. We are grateful to the United Arab Emirates for hosting this crucial meeting. For over 2 decades, the Kimberley process has been a historic achievement, a collective effort to ensure that diamonds do not become instruments of conflicts, wars, and human suffering. Yet the nature of conflict has evolved. Conflict is no longer confined to rebel armies in the bush. Today, diamond communities may not hear gunfire, but they feel the violence of exploitation, dispossession, and exclusion. Sadly, necessary reforms in the diamond trade have stalled. While we debate, the world changes. The landscape of the diamond trade is fast shifting, and the moral cost of inaction continues to rise. Many diamond communities still live with the scars of conflict, exploitation, and exclusion. This cannot be the legacy of the Kimberley process. The options before us on the definition of conflict diamonds reflect the shared desire of all participants to respond to these changing realities. Ghana recognizes the legitimacy of the concerns, perspectives, and aspirations embedded in each proposal. What matters now is our collective willingness to find common ground and to act decisively. Ladies and gentlemen, consensus is at the heart of the Kimberley process. But consensus, as has already been said, must be a path to progress and not a recipe for paralysis. We may not find a perfect text that satisfies every delegation on every point. What we can and must do, however, is take steps, however modest, to strengthen the credibility, relevance, and moral authority of this process. Ghana believes in consensus and urges all participants to focus on areas of convergence, listening carefully to one another, and pursue solutions that protect vulnerable populations while safeguarding legitimate trade. Let us not allow the quest for perfection to become the enemy of meaningful incremental reform. Let history record that this crucial meeting chose renewal over stagnation and cooperation over narrow interest, and that we move forward even if by small but significant steps. Ghana stands ready to walk this path with you. Thank you for your attention.